sit back and enjoy the ride. Here we go. Hi. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, all right, we're going to sing this song. Happy birthday, we love you. It's by my good friend Tom Chapin. It's a really awesome song.
Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go.
You know, everybody can sing.
Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go. Okay, let's sing it one more time. Everybody who has a birthday.
Everybody who has a birthday. It's all of you.
Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go. You blow out the candles. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go.
Wow, that was beautiful. You sang so beautifully. I love it. Do you know this story, Horton Hatch's Day? Oh, I'm so excited to read this to you. I love this story. I love the story. I remember it from when I was a itsy bitsy little teeny weeny kitty. Back a long time ago, a little kitty. My mom used to read this to me. My mom read it to me, and ever since I was a little itsy bitsy teeny weeny kitty, I love this book. So now I'm going to read it to you, okay? Okay? Excellent. It's called Horton Catches the Egg. And I love it so much. I love Horton. He's such a good guy. Okay, here we go. Oh. Testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Excellent. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored and I've got kinks in my legs from just sitting here day after day. It's work, how I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, all silly things. I haven't feathers and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Well, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, man. And I'm so immense. Tut tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come be a good fellow. I know you won't mind. Oh, I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back, or I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant. Since you insist, you want a vacation? Well, fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg, and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie and fluttered away. The first thing to do, murmured Horton, let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat. And he sat. And he sat. And he sat. And he sat all that day and he kept the egg warm. And he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish she'd come back, because I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach. And having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she would never go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet, and icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting and said with a sneeze, stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%.
Oh my God.
So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through. And then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round and they shouted with glee, look, Horton the elephant is up in a tree. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, how absurd! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. They laughed and they laughed, then they all ran away. And Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up, softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart.
Oh my God.
Did he run?
No.
He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high, and he threw out his chest, and he looked at the hunters as much as to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%.
Oh my God.
But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Hey, look! They all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting up on top of a tree? It's strange. It's amazing. It's wonderful. No! Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. It's just what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing you knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the ponies to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountain, 10,000 feet high. Then down the mountain and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip. Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, but oh, I am seasick, 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down at the lurch, when Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him, boom, Horton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus, then week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too. To Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flock to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in that hot, noisy tent. You guys remember these words? You say it with me? I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. Then, one day, the circus happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up high in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by? But that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation, and still just as lazy. And spying the flags in the tents just below, she sang out, oh, what fun, why I'll go to the show. And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. Good gracious, gasped Maisie. I've seen you before. Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, ear-splitting squeaks from the egg that had sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. Oh, my egg! Shouted Horton. Hey, my egg! Why, it's hatching. But it's mine! Screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. It's my egg, she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off of my nest and get out of my tree. Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart. And out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that it sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, hey, what's all this about? They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They had never seen anything like it before. My goodness, my gracious, they shouted, my word, it's something brand new.
Good stuff.
It's an elephant bird. And it should be. It should be. It should be like that. Because Horton was faithful. He sat. And he sat. He meant what he said. And he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy. 100%. Do you like that? You got to go back to the jungle, huh? And all his friends are looking at him. I love that story. Can you see why when I was a little itsy bitsy teeny weeny kitty, I love that story so much? All right, here we go. Watch out, watch out, watch out. All right, take a deep breath, take a deep breath.
Oh, I think we should be fine there.
Blow it out, blow it out.
Yeah, we're good. Dad worked late last night. He's in there snoring. Same old stuff on TV. Boring. So what if I can't go out and play? I know what I'll do today. I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it out. Now I like books and they like me, so when I go to the library, I sit down in my favorite chair and check to see who's there. Maybe one book, maybe two. Take me home, says Winnie the Pooh. And if we have to travel far, I'll bring my honey jar. Oh, I'm going down to the library, checking out a book, check it out. Don't say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it out. Sleeping Beauty yawned and said, I'll come right out of bed. But Madeline says, let her nap, and jumps into my lap. Cat in the Hat says, here I go. Don't take him, cries Pinocchio. Don't take that cat to your address, he always makes a mess. Oh, I'm going down to the library, checking out a book, check it out. Don't say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it out. Mrs. Parker's back behind the checkout desk today. The Cheshire Cat jumps on her head and says, let's play. But Mrs. B says, goodness, are you sure you want all these? Oh yes, we shout together. She says, shh, quiet, please. I'm going down to the library, checking out a book, check it out. Don't say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it out. The seven dwarfs begin to shout, say, take us with you, check us out. Then Cinderella gets her gown and Babar grabs his crown. Then Curious George swings from the shelf. Along comes Mother Goose herself. Out the door we danced and sang, the whole library rang. Oh, I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it